Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel lived in a cottage at the edge of the forest. Their father was a simple woodcutter, and although he worked hard, the family was very poor. Many times, Hansel and Gretel had nothing but a crust of bread for their supper. At night, after they were in bed, their parents would speak in worried voices. Even though they whispered, Hansel and Gretel could hear what they said. "I must go into the forest to find work," Father sighed. "It will be dangerous, but it's the only way." Mother gasped. Father was too old to work in the forest. The children discussed this in their room. "Hansel, we simply cannot let Father go," whispered Gretel to her brother from her bed. "What can we do?" After a moment of thought, Hansel said, "I will travel into the forest instead." "Then I will come with you," said Gretel. "You may need my help." Before daylight, Hansel and Gretel crept out of their beds and pulled on their clothes. Gretel collected some bread from the kitchen and stuffed it into her pockets. The children walked silently. They walked all day long until their feet hurt and their legs felt tired and heavy. "I did not realize the forest was so big," Gretel said. "Nor did I," said Hansel, "but don't worry. I've made sure we will not get lost. I left a trail of breadcrumbs behind us in case we need to turn back." "You are very clever, Hansel," Gretel said. "But look!" Gretel pointed behind them. Hansel saw 3 blackbirds carefully eating each breadcrumb he had dropped. The trail was gone. Oh no! Now how are they going to get back? Hansel could only stare at the missing trail. How would they find their way back? I don't know. By now, the children were very tired, but they continued to walk through the forest. Surely they would come across some place they could rest or someone who could offer them something small to eat. They were certainly lost now. Night fell upon the forest, and strange noises came from behind the trees. Hansel and Gretel sat down near a tree and huddled against the cold. After a short time, they both managed to fall asleep, dreaming of a warm supper. In the morning, they continued to walk. After a while, the children entered a small clearing. They could not believe their eyes. "Gretel, look!" Hansel shouted. "A cottage!" "Maybe whoever lives there will have something to eat," said Gretel. As the children hurried closer, they saw that this was no ordinary cottage. Its walls were made of gingerbread, and its windows of crystal clear sugar. Ooh, look at that house. This house is made out of candy and lots of other sweet things. The children knocked on the door. When it opened, an old woman with a cane came out. "We have been traveling alone through the forest," Gretel said. "We are very tired and hungry. May we rest here?" The old woman invited the children inside. She made them a delicious meal, then gave them soft beds on which to rest. But in the morning, the old woman grabbed Hansel and locked him in a cage. "Oh no!" "I am a witch," the woman said. "You will be my supper once you are nice and fat." For the next few weeks, the witch made sure Hansel had plenty to eat. Each day, the witch would stand by Hansel's cage and say, "Stick out your finger so I can see how plump you are." But Hansel was a clever boy. He knew witches were nearly blind, so rather than let the old woman feel his finger, Hansel held out a small thin chicken bone that Gretel had sneaked to him. The trick worked perfectly. The witch would say, feeling the chicken bone. What a scrawny thing you are! You must eat more! One morning, the witch ordered Gretel to fetch some water. Whether Hansel is fat or lean, she said, today I will cook and eat him. I have waited too long. No! Gretel shouted. You stubborn child, do as I say, the witch demanded impatiently. The witch nudged Gretel up to the oven. Check the oven to make sure it is hot. No, Gretel said. She knew better than to trust a witch. I don't know how to check. Then I will do it myself, said the witch. Just as she leaned over, Gretel gave her a push. The witch fell right into the oven. Gretel quickly slammed the iron door and bolted it so the witch could not get out. Gretel quickly released Hansel from his cage. With nothing else to fear, the children sat down and enjoyed a feast. Before they left, the children gathered food to eat during their long journey. As they wandered through the house searching for food, Hansel and Gretel discovered boxes of pearls and precious stones. They stuffed their pockets with jewels and filled large sacks with as much food as they could. The children set off through the forest. After days of walking, the children came to a place in the woods that looked familiar. Suddenly, they could see their own little cottage through the trees. The children began to run. Mother! Father! We are home at last! They shouted. When Mother and Father heard their calls, they ran to meet them. They hugged Hansel and Gretel for a very long time. Look what we have brought, said Hansel. He took the jewels from his pockets and laid them on the table. We will never be hungry again. You are very good and brave children, said Father, but you promise me that you will never run away again. We promise, they said together, and the family lived happily ever after. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.